Do you ever get tired of replaying the past? You ever find yourself obsessing about things that you actually can't change? And it's almost like that spinny wheel when it gets stuck on your computer and it's just spinning and spinning and spinning, and it's not actually like going on to the next screen. It's like you can't move on. It's just stuck in this spinning mode. If you can relate with that, we're going to talk a little bit today about how can you move past those places where you just get stuck in order to experience joy in the journey. That's the series that we're in right now here with Coaching with Tally, all about how can you find more joy in the journey as you go. And so we've been coming every day for the last, week or so, talking about things that you can do to have more joy in your journey. And today we're going to be touching in on that place of what do you do when you just feel stuck and you find yourself replaying things, hurts, embarrassments, mistakes. You just replay them and you get stuck in that place. How can you move on? We're going to talk about that today. My name is Tally. I'm a life and personal development coach, and I have the honor and privilege of getting to work with leaders to create lives of overflowing impact in the world that are centered in a place of joy. All about getting you aligned to who you most truly are, get you firing on all cylinders, and get you creating a life that you love living, that you can be in overflow. So today, talking about acceptance, courage. We're going to talk about what we can and can't control today and give you some really practical things. What does it give you when you're able to let things go and move on? What are the gifts for you that are available for you? And a little bit on how can we do that? Because nobody wants to stay stuck, really. So we're going to get into a little bit of how can you move on and get yourself unstuck in some of those places so that you can enjoy the journey. So if your answer is yes to that question of do you ever feel stuck? Do you feel like you get into those places where you're just like, man, like move on, I can't move on? Where you feel like that spinny wheel happening. If that's you, you're super not alone. Like everybody experiences that to some degree or another. And it just makes it harder to be really present to the life that you're living right now. It's really a lot harder to have a fulfilled life when you get into those places of feeling stuck. So I've got a quote for you. This is a C.S. Lewis quote. Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing the monkey bars. You know how you have to let go of one bar in order to move forward? It's a lot like that. So how do we do that when we're in that place? Can you remember that when you're a little kid crossing the monkey bars and you're like, I don't want to let go, but I'm just going to be stuck right here if I don't let go and move forward. So how do we let go and be able to move forward? One of the studies that has been done around this, they look at adults who held on to negative experiences in their life, and they looked at the effects of that over the course of a decade. And those people who had a lot harder time letting go of negative past experiences experienced a greater cognitive decline than those people who were more apt to just be able to let go of things and move forward. So letting go of what you can't control and focusing on what you can is one huge key to helping you let go and be able to move forward, to help you move out of that place where you're just spinning and spinning and spinning. Looking at what can I control and what can I not control about this situation will help separate out and give you the ability to move forward a little bit more. So when you can let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can, you're gonna have much less stress. You'll have stress relief. It'll allow you to enjoy life, which is the whole series that we're in right now. You know, being able to find joy in the journey and enjoy your life. And it will also increase your motivation. So 3 big things: relieving stress, enjoying your life, and increasing your motivation. 3 big things in letting go. So all of us have baggage that we carry around. You can't get through this world as a human without picking up baggage along the way. We've all been wronged by things. We've been victim to things. We've gone through really challenging things. We've made choices that have consequences that we don't like. Like, we all have baggage, but the longer that we carry it around with us, the heavier it feels. There's a meditation that I do with my clients that just gives them this space to be able to look at what is it that I'm carrying around that feels like heavy, like a backpack. Permission to just take it off and kneel down and unzip it and begin to pull, one thing at a time out, name it, and set it on this shelf. It's a powerful piece of the meditation, because we all have that. We all have things that we carry around that just feel like needlessly heavy. We don't have to actually be carrying them around. So being able to identify those things is really supportive. But again, replaying those hurts, the losses that we all have in life, those moments that were just really humiliating or embarrassing to us, mistakes that we've made, replaying those things over and over and over again doesn't actually do anything to change what happened. It only robs us of the present. It only robs the joy that we could be experiencing in the moment that we're replaying it. So what I've found, one of the best things that we can do in those moments is to just take a deep breath and focus on what is it that I can do right now? What is something that I can do, that I can change about this situation? So what is it that you can get into action around? And there's a really powerful prayer. It's often used in the 12-step community, but a lot of people use it. It's called the Serenity Prayer. And it goes like this: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think often what gets us stuck is not identifying what can I do something about, and what is completely out of my control. Because when we just obsess about things we can't do anything about, like, that's a very defeating, overwhelming experience. But when we can separate out, okay, this is what I can't do anything about, and I need to come into a place of acceptance around this, and we're going to talk about how to do that here in a second. And separating out, what can I do? What can I get into some action around? Whether it's delegating something, whether it's finding out more information about something. Maybe you're stuck because you don't know enough information around the situation in order to take the next step. Maybe it's asking for support. There are things that you can do that will help you get into action. And then some ways to be able to let go of the things you can't control. Let's talk about that, because I think that is sometimes a little bit harder to know, like, what do I do when I can't control it? What do I do when there's nothing I can do? How do I get into acceptance around something I don't like that I can't change necessarily? There's a quote by Viktor Frankl, and he says, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's Viktor Frankl, and really incredible writer, went through the concentration camps. So talk about feeling out of control. He was in a situation that so many things about his life, important things about his life, were completely out of his control. And like, that's just a powerful quote. When we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So here are 4 ways that you can step into changing yourself in situations that you can't change. So looking at the gifts or the lessons that are in the situation that you're in. So always it creates, for me, I will say, it has helped so much to feel like pain that I'm in or that I've gone through isn't just wasted suffering, when I can get something out of it, when I can learn something, when I can find a gift in it. And a lot of times, I think I said this yesterday, one of the things I ask is, how is this situation perfectly designed to give me something that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise? So even if there's pain involved in it, even if it's challenging, even if it's hard, how is it perfectly designed to give me a gift right now? How can I learn something? How can I grow? What is the gift to me in this? So looking for the lessons and the gifts is number 1. Number 2, changing your story around it. So what you make something mean, and I talk about this we've talked about it in several different series. We are meaning makers, and the meaning that we attach to something is what holds the power for us. Because it's not actually the circumstance that makes something powerful positively or negatively. It's the interpretation that we apply to it. It's why 2 siblings can go through the exact same situation, and one of them comes out somehow empowered and the other one ends up like a victim in life. It's the interpretation that they layer onto that experience that they had. And so being able to change your story around a situation. So if you make something negative that happened to you mean that, like, you're doomed, or you're a victim, or you'll never be able to, sure, these kinds of things always happen to me, or I must not be loved if this happened to me. Whatever the meaning that you're attaching to it, if you can change that story, find empathy toward the situation in some way, and be able to find an empowering interpretation, it'll support you a lot. Forgiveness, forgiving yourself or whoever else is involved in the situation, anywhere that there is just forgiveness needed. I mean, that is a powerful way to get unstuck, and we're not going to get into a whole thing on that today. We've done whole videos on that in other series, but forgiveness is powerful. And then focusing on the present. If you can get rooted in the present moment that you're in, it'll support you a ton. So the 4 things again: ways to get unstuck, looking for the lesson or the gift in it, changing your interpretation or story about it, forgiving yourself and others, and focusing on the present. So, and here's that quote from Viktor Frankl again: when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So my question for you in closing is, what do you get to accept or release today that will allow you to have more joy in your journey? Have more joy in your life today. What do you get to accept or release today that will allow you to have a more joyful life? Blessings. I will be back again tomorrow, again in this series, finding more joy in the journey, with another tip, another very practical thing that you can do to find more joy in your journey. If you haven't heard it yet today, I just want to say that you are incredibly loved. You are a gift to the world. There are things in you that this world needs and that no one else can bring the way that you do. So lean into that, look for ways that you can shine who you are, and know that you are a treasure. Blessings, and we'll see you again tomorrow.